In the early 1980s, Anchorage was an isolated urban outpost pinned between the sea and millions of acres of unforgiving Alaskan wilderness. When another woman's body was pulled from the Kinnick River in the fall of 1983, it confirmed a terrifying pattern. Someone was abducting women from the city and discarding their remains in the remote backcountry. Investigators were working in a vacuum. They had no primary crime scenes, no murder weapons, and no forensic links to tie the victims to a single suspect. Without physical proof to identify the predator, the killings continued, leaving the community to wait for a mistake that hadn't yet happened. In a landscape this vast, a circumstantial investigation is nearly impossible to maintain. Without hard forensic evidence, law enforcement was essentially hunting a ghost in the trees. That ghost was Robert Hansen. To his neighbors, he was a local baker, a quiet professional who hid a brutal hunting persona behind a mundane life. Hansen's routine was predictable. He ran a successful business where local police officers were regulars, often fueling up on donuts and coffee before heading out on patrol. The very detectives tasked with stopping the killings were unknowingly socializing with the man they were looking for. A predator's most dangerous tool is a convincing, community-facing facade. It renders standard police work ineffective until an outside force breaks the killer's cover. That break came from Cindy Paulson, a young woman who had been surviving on the fringes of the city before she encountered Hansen and fought back. After being abducted, Paulson managed to escape Hansen at an Anchorage airfield, wrenching herself free and fleeing into the night before he could fly her into the wilderness. Her escape breached the wall Hansen had built between his two lives. Paulson identified Hansen's aircraft and provided the specific physical descriptions that allowed police to narrow their focus to a single suspect. Her survival provided the momentum required for a targeted criminal raid, ending the investigation's long period of stagnation. In October 1983, police executed a search warrant on Hansen's bakery and his home. Inside, they discovered a hidden cache of jewelry, trophies that belonged to the women who had vanished over the previous years. They also recovered a .223 caliber rifle. Ballistics testing later confirmed it was the weapon used in the killings. The most chilling piece of evidence was a topographical map of the region, marked with small hand-drawn symbols in the river valleys. Investigators realized these markings were a ledger of death, pinpointing the exact sites where Hansen had buried his victims. Faced with this map and the recovered jewelry, Hansen's defense collapsed. He admitted to a virtual hate for prostitutes and pleaded guilty to the murders of 4 women in 1984. The chain of physical evidence, sparked by Paulson's escape, created a case that permanently ended Hansen's ability to hunt. But the victory in court didn't translate to peace for Paulson. She spent the following years struggling with survivor's guilt and a crushing sense of worthlessness, feeling as though she had no inherent right to the life she had saved. She lived in constant fear that Hansen's reach extended beyond prison walls. Knowing he was a man of means who owned his own business and aircraft, she worried he might find a way to finish his final hunt through an associate. For a witness this central to a high-profile case, the threat of a predator often lingers long after the prison doors close. That psychological weight only began to lift in 2014, when Robert Hansen died in prison. Today, Paulson lives a quiet life in Yakima, Washington, celebrating a decade of sobriety and the growth of her children and grandchildren. She no longer carries the belief that she should never have been born. Instead, she has come to see her survival as a specific destiny. She was there to take a monster off the streets. Justice is found in the evidence that locks a killer away, but it is ultimately defined by a survivor reclaiming their own purpose and the lives they were able to save.